These will be the tools that we need for making our lotion bars. We have our pot, either a glass jar or a glass measuring cup. Either is fine, but it does need to be glass, can't be plastic. A wooden mixing spoon, a glove to be able to take your cup or jar out of the boiling water when we get to that point. And I like these because they completely cover my hand, so it's very protected. Our silicone mold. If you don't have a mold, you can also use any waxed carton. Just clean it out, so from milk or juice, and you can just put your mixture in there and use that as your mold. You'll notice that I have things marked. Whatever I use for soap making or lotions or whatnot, I strictly leave it for that. I don't use it for food, so I have my own set, and I try to mark everything so that it's clear so I don't accidentally use it when I'm cooking dinner. To make our lotion bars, we will need 1 part coconut oil, 1 part beeswax, 1 part butters. You can do combinations of cocoa butter, mango butter, shea butter. Today I'm using cocoa butter and mango butter because that's what I have on hand. And I also like to add in a couple drops of vitamin E oil as well as tea tree oil because it has good properties for your skin and adds some extra vitamins. Coconut oil has a melting point of a little bit under 80 degrees. So during the summer it becomes this liquid, and during the winter it is this white hard solid that it's really hard to spoon out. I find it very awkward to work with. I much prefer the liquid version. So what I usually do is I store my coconut oil in these glass jars, so whenever I want to use it, and it looks like this, I can just pop it into the microwave. Anywhere between 1 to 2 minutes, depending on the size of my jar, and then it becomes this liquid form, so much more easier to work with when I'm making different products, and it's much easier to be accurate, less messy. For beeswax, my preference is getting the pastils. They're basically already in this little bead shapes for you. It's much more easier to measure out and get exact measurements. They're a little bit more expensive, however, for ease of use, I just find it worth my time. You can also buy beeswax in like large bricks or bars. They can get a little bit more harder to measure out accurately. You can try shaving it with like a grater, which just takes a really long time. The beeswax is very hard, so it's hard to cut it with a knife. The other method you can try if you get very large bricks is kind of what I've done here. So I've taken a very large brick and I've melted it down in my double boiler, and then I poured it into ice cube trays, so I have the smaller proportionate pieces that I can work with. So it's up to you which way you want to go. It depends a little bit what kind of beeswax you have access to. For the lotion bars, we need 1 part of each of the items. So you need 1 part of your coconut oil, 1 part beeswax, and 1 part of your butters. For this particular recipe, I'm going to do a ½ cup of each. So I have a ½ cup of my coconut oil, ½ cup of my beeswax, and a ½ cup of my butters. So I've combined both the cocoa butter as well as the mango butter. So I have a ¼ cup of the cocoa butter and a ¼ cup of the mango butter, so that way it's a half total. We're now going to take all of these ingredients and put them into our mixing pot. I have my double boiler set up so that I have my water in the outside pot that's been boiling, and I have my glass jar inside. So we're going to put all of our ingredients into the glass jar or measuring cup. So this is my butters. We're going to put them in, and then we're going to add our beeswax, and then we're going to add in our coconut oil, and we're going to let all of that melt and just gently stirring while you wait for it to melt. Once everything has completely melted, go ahead and turn the heat off, and we're going to add a couple drops of our oils. Then we're going to give it a little mix, and we're ready to pour it into our mold. We're going to pour our mixture into our mold. And then let it sit overnight so that it will completely harden. Once they've hardened overnight, you can just pop them out. That's the nice thing with the silicone molds, is they're flexible, so they're very easy to take the bars in and out. And then you just grab your bar, rub it against your hands, and you'll notice kind of the shiny oils are left behind, so just rub it into your hands. This is wonderful for winter time. I use them all the time when my hands are chapped and dehydrated and they're blistering and my skin is breaking. So all of the oils and the moisture in the butters just makes my hands just feel lovely. I love doing these in the winter all the time. For storage wise, because they're kind of on the softer side, I usually have one bar that I'll leave in the bathroom, so after I wash my hands I can just rub my hands with the lotion bar to rehydrate, and then the other ones I just tend to just find a container to store them in to make them a little bit more prettier, or I just grab whatever I happen to have on hand for storage. And there are your homemade lotion bars.